hard to follow up a musical act. That's like, wow. Now that you have all taken up so much space, I'm going to bring you to a very claustrophobic space. So the background of this story is based on a true story of my father being stuck in a very small office for quarantine in China. So, yeah, I'll get started. I imagine my father counting the tiles on his ceiling after spending 6 hours looking through WeChat. Maybe doing 10 push-ups just to see if he can, but limiting his water intake to prevent him from having to go into the bathroom too frequently. The buzz of the fluorescent lights overhead hums to him like the sirens that tried to lure sailors to their death in Odysseus' journey, but he has to learn to love the sound. He has to make that petulant buzz into a beautiful symphony because he still has 6 more days left. He hopes to make it through this leg of the journey and realizes his wife, my mother, is the only contact on his phone that he can rely on and talk to. He takes this for granted and never admits it, all the while convincing himself that his journey is for her and for me, while we have both already moved on. He convinces himself that he's still on his path home. How much of Odysseus' journey was delayed because of his decisions? How much was left to fate? He has been in this office room for 3 days already, and I imagine he's already scared of his own mind. The business ideas he has come up with in the past are only barriers to prevent him from confronting the truest reflection of himself. Don't look back, only look forward, he always says. No one who has ever learned anything about anything could possibly disagree with that method of progress. He was exposed to COVID at some point walking through Beijing and now is forcefully quarantined with tape placed by the government outside the door to his office he's been living in for the past year. Neither my mother nor I know when or how he had first moved into this manufacturing facility, as we only exist on the edges of his life, with the obscured vision of what he allows us to see. We are oblivious to the multiple forms of truth hidden in this kaleidoscope that he insists is rose-tinted, but in reality it is so dark in color that we can't really make out any shapes at all. I imagine he waits until the last possible second, until he needs to piss, to call the manufacturing floor, to forklift him out of his window to use the share bathroom on the ground floor that the other employees use. He has to be sneaked out of this way because he can't break the tape outside his front door. I can see the pit of his stomach fall, putting only further pressure on his bladder as he confronts his fear of heights, climbing onto a forklift outside of a window just to go to the bathroom. He tries to avoid eye contact with the forklift driver as he does this dance to prevent the shame from ever seeping into his skin. I don't think he has ever let the thought expand past the seed in his mind of, how did I get here? Because that level of honesty would be too catastrophic to his current unplanned trajectory of success. When he gets back into this cave, he looks at the protein powder packets he most recently produced, the latest product birthed from one of his many business ideas. The original idea was to mix these with water and drink them to suppress your appetite, to help you move further along in your weight loss journey. He only has 3 boxes in here, and it will have to suffice as his only food during this time in his room. He convinces himself that they are delicious and thinks this consumption as a trial to prove product success, as part of a product research to further his own testimonial during a potential marketing expansion. He was a PhD after all. The 4 walls of this room must have been terribly suffocating in its irony, to leave all that you loved behind, to be trapped in a corporate confinement, and discover you have no one to turn to but those you have left behind. When I started my own business, there was the lingering fear of becoming this man, and the potential to forget to prioritize all that you love and care about for the glimmering hope of success. Being selfish meant being my father, and I feared being selfish every second. I found myself scared as I struggled to balance the myriad of important priorities in my life, and felt regularly guilty when I didn't do it right. I negotiated with myself to give more and take less, but I still felt like I was doing it all wrong. The blurriness of where the lines are drawn scares me into believing I'm becoming the blurry reflection of him. I feel fear of expressing my love for all the things I've created for myself because I know I had to sacrifice something else to achieve it. At what and whose expense, and how can I forgive myself? The buzz of my anxieties flicker like the fluorescent lights I imagine surround my father. Maybe for me, I won't learn to fall in love with the sound, but I'll learn to dial it up or dial it down, control it, and let it be a familiar song. A song that touches on love, but bleeds nostalgia and stings of memories. A buzz added to another beat, and maybe soon, a new song created altogether. Thank you.